Yes, anyone? Okay, so the main problem that we see in when we are developing softwares is that when we want to collaborate to a project, as long collaborate to a project more than one or two people, we need to make the source code available for all. Okay. Um, yeah. So in terms of when we want to share our code and we want to work with the others, um, there's going to be several problems arising with that. Okay. So let's say you want to share the source code. Okay. Let's assume that we do not have Git, we do not have anything. So how do we share a source code? You have written some nice code. Okay, now you want to share with your friends. Okay, I need to share this with 10 of my friends. So how are you going to do that in a way that the Git does not exist? So what you can do, you can put it in a pen drive and give it to your friend. Okay, the source code is in here. You can execute it and you can work on it. And or you can email them. Okay, saying okay, I have included the latest source code. Now you can check that out and work with that. So that's kind of things works, but think where an organization where you have more than 100 people, 200 people, or collaboration is worldwide, and where you do not have option of giving pen drives to other guys or any medium of physical storage to others, because your team is maybe living in different continents or different geographical location. It's not possible. So we can eliminate sharing our source code via a pen drive or physical means. So the next thing is emailing this stuff. Okay. So for example, I want to give the source code to another person. Then I will just make it a zip file and send it to all the 200 recipients. And that is okay unless if they want to contribute something for your source code. So they want to give some feedbacks on that. They want to make some improvements on your source code. So what they have to do, they have to do the changes and send that one to all of you in order to extract it and run it. The problem arise. Think 200 people found 200 bugs or 200 improvements, and they are sharing their source code. How we going to manage all those things? 200 people will send 200 changes. Then we do not have a proper way to make this flow works. Okay, it's really going to be impossible. Forget 200. Take 3 or 4 members of your team collaborating into one single source code. It's going to be a messy one if you are doing the whole source code sharing. So uh, there were some tools. There are some tools which is doing to get rid of the complexity of source code management and collaborations. Okay, the earlier ones are like Subversion, CSV, Preforce. Honestly, I just know Subversion. There is something I have seen using people, but not that much. Okay, so in order to the funny thing is about this Git is a free and open source tool. Okay, which was originated from another problem, which was code sharing with Linux. Okay, you guys know Linux kernel. Okay, the Linux kernel is one of the most popular open source software out there. So its power most of your day-to-day handheld devices, your machines, even the servers that we run on. So a lot of things are depending on Linux. So this Linux kernel uh, was developed, and most of the people are interested in this. So what they want to do, they want to collaborate and the existing collaboration tools at that time, before Git I'm talking, existing collaboration tools was not doing a good job in terms of source code management. Okay, they were not performing as expected. So as a good software developer, the creator of Linux kernel, Linus Torvalds, he also created Git in order to makes our life easier in terms of software configuration management. Okay, so he created Git, kernel, Linux kernel first, and to avoid source code management issues, he also created Git. Okay, so Git is like used everywhere, almost everywhere. I haven't seen a single. There are a few legacy systems which is running on like Subvision and CSV, but 99% of anyone who is talking about code, software project management and code management, they will be using Git. Okay, so you for a decent amount of time, I don't think there will be any other tools which will replace Git. We will look into Git and Git's use cases soon, a little bit on. But remember the history, how it originated, what was the problem that we're gonna solve, and what sort of things that we'll be working with. Okay, so Git will help us to do the source code management. We will see in practice how we can create a problem and how we will resolve that using Git. Okay, we will use that in our practical sessions. While we are doing the things, we will get into Git. Okay, we will create a problem and we will make it work. Okay, so any questions up until this? Any questions regarding Git? So installation, it's gonna be fairly simple. You guys will have Git almost everywhere for Windows, for Linux, and everything. If you are using Linux, you can use the command line tools, or you can just download that and execute it. It will work as well. So currently, I am having Git. Okay, so it's when I'm in the terminal, and if I give the command Git, and it will give me some instruction. Okay, and I think let me clear the terminal. By the way, you guys can clearly see the screen, right? I mean, the fonts are not too big or too small. Okay, I have just increased it so you guys can clear. You see, so the current Git version I am having is 2.39. Latest is a little bit ahead of me, but there won't be any breaking changes in terms of working with Git. Okay, so make sure you have Git installed, and if you can execute Git version, as long as the version is given, that means you are good, you have Git in your machines, and we are ready to get started. Okay, so next thing is we will look into various Git commands, or what sort of things that we can do. We will start with the smaller ones and all the other things. So Git versioning, the Git that we have worked with in here is gonna be something that we will be working locally in this scenario. If we create a Git repository, we call something like when we are creating an application, we call it a Git repository. It will be local. Okay, it's gonna work within your local machine. And since we need to make sure these local changes or anything that is collaborative something huge, something that's going on for a long time, or something. Some people who are joining from other countries, they need to collaborate as well, so they can't access our local machine. So what we can do is we can utilize a Git provider. Okay, we will call Git providers. So if you guys know, GitHub is one of the most um, popular place where you can have you can work with Git. So anything that you will do, you can host it in GitHub. Okay, so the source code management, that what we do is going to be shared using GitHub. Okay, we are using Git under the hood. Okay, so we use Git commands and everything. But when we want to share those things, we will be hosting those repositories in GitHub. So rather than sitting in your local machine, all the source code will be uploaded to a place like GitHub. GitHub is not only the place that you can host your code. So there are places like Bitbucket, okay, Bitbucket, okay. These are also what do you call Git providers, okay. And one other major one is GitLab, okay. So there will be plenty of platforms that you can choose upon. And the thing is about these various tools, they have play plans, okay. Of course, what you're doing is in Git and collaboration, all those things, those have paid plans, and also those things have like free plans. Okay, so what is the difference between paid and free plans? So if you are developing an open source project, that means people around the world will come and see your source code. It is not private. Okay, it's anyone in the internet can come and see your source code. Then if your project or your repository is open source, then you have unlimited collaborators that can work within your repository. But if you have a private project, that means your source code is not publicly open, or you are building something for your organization, maybe from yourself, you're not ready to go open source, then you have a closed repository. Okay, in a closed repository, the number of participants, number of collaborators within your project will be limited. Okay, it will be limited to, depending on the provider. I think minimum is 3 and maximum I have seen 5. Okay, there will be 3 or 5 providers, 3 or 5 collaborators within the project if it is private. But if it is public or open source, you don't have to worry about the collaborating amount and everyone. You can collaborate to any repository. Okay, so we will see how we can get these things done. So whatever the Git's provider that we're going to be using, it's not going to affect Git anyhow. Okay, so the Git commands that we will execute will almost every time will work with either of these providers. Okay, you don't have to worry about these things. As long as we are gonna work within the Git commands, these providers are not going to be an issue. Okay, so we will be using GitHub in this scenario. We also can use Bitbucket. We will see. That means we can even use 2 repositories. Okay, 2 providers, Git repositories, we call those things. We can have 2 different providers if you like. Okay, so these are like company hosted. So GitHub is owned by Microsoft right now, and they own the source codes and servers and everything which run GitHub. So Bitbucket is owned by Atlassian, which, if you guys know the software called Jira, the software, what do you call that software project management tool, which is very popular. But all these two different providers, even GitLab, they provide source code management, project management, CI/CD pipeline. So all the things that you need in order to get these things into production, these cloud providers, these GitHub, Bitbucket, they provide that functionality. Okay, we will see how we can use these things once we get into the once we get into the deployment side of things. Right now, what we will try to do is we will get a simple source code and host it in the GitHub, and we'll move on afterwards. Okay, so make sure you have a GitHub account. Okay, the GitHub account is GitHub or Bitbucket. Either works fine. We will use both in a later on. Right now, to get started, make sure you have a GitHub account to get things working on. Okay, so anyone having I think if you guys listening in, you can create a GitHub account right now, even while we are talking. It's fairly simple. It's simple. You just sign in or sign up. If you have a account, sign in, and if you don't have one, sign up. It will ask for username and everything, and you are done within 5 minutes. Okay, get your GitHub account in place or Bitbucket account in place. So next thing we will do is we will initiate a Git repository. Okay, so let me do log into my GitHub. Let me log into my GitHub so I can show you guys. GitHub.com. Okay. So this is like the management center for my GitHub repository, GitHub dashboard. So I have several repositories going on. I have different projects going on, different repositories, different organizations, so on and so forth. But the main thing that you need to know, you need to work with is a repository. So what do you understand by a repository? Repository is what we can call all the software and software source code bundled into a single what do you call it? A single folder or single organized manner. We call that as a repository. So whatever the project that we're going to be working in, we will put those things in a repository. This repository will work as the place where you will see your source codes. Okay, so as soon as you logged in, I think you can create a repository. But right now, what we will do is you guys can create a repository and follow along. And there are ways we can contribute. We will look into that as well. So I'll create a single repository, and each and every guys of you will provide a contribution to this repository. And by doing that, you guys will have the knowledge of how to contribute and how to work with Git and everything, and going forward. Okay, let me show one simple example, and we will get right on to doing that. Okay, so first thing, as soon as you log into a GitHub or a Bitbucket account, you will find something like creating a new repository or somewhere around here. I have my repositories. These are the repositories that I am working with. Okay, I have a lot going on. Not all are active, but there are like a lot of repositories. These are like software projects that I am working with, and these are like this simplest ones that I have recently worked with. So I will create a repository for this this course module, and you guys also create a GitHub profile, and we will get contribution going on as we speak. Okay, so first thing, I will create a repository. I will go create new, and repository templates. Templates is like, do you need something pre configured, pre defined? Right now we are not. We are going to go with full empty repository. So I need to give a repository name. That means something that identifiable. Normally, what I do is I will go with the course content. So I have the few courses going on. So I would like to name these things with the course code so I don't get confused. And I will do the earring as well. These things do not conflict with each other. So if I'm doing next year, I would get a number defined in here. So this is the repository name. Okay, this is not like readable for someone else, but it would make sense. You have something like your project name in here. That is like most of the time the norm. But in here, since we know a repository name by our course content and the year, that would also do. Okay, so we can give a description in here. Right now, I'm gonna give a description. Test repository for Git and its usage. Okay, so it's going to be a test repository. You can give a description about if you're developing a project, you can give the project description and so on and so forth. So I'm going to make it public so you guys can access it. If I'm making this private, nobody can see it unless me and the people who I have invited. And as I mentioned earlier, private and one have limitation of number of collaborators that you can work with. But we will be using a public one so we can test it out. But in an organization, if you're going to be, we are going to be doing something for a private organizations, then it will be most of the time going to be private, and there will be limited collaborators, or there'll be less people involving with the source code. Okay, so I will create a public one. That is okay, and I'm gonna just ignore these things. I do not want to have a README file. I do not want to add ignore. I do not want to have any license associated with this one. But if you do not want to start from scratch, you can add a README. You can add a template, a gitignore. We will see what gitignore is all about, and we will choose a licensing and what is the license that we're going to be using this source code management. That means anyone who is using this piece of software have to adhere, or you have to follow these license agreements. Without, most of the time, without a license agreement, your source code will be vulnerable. Okay, you you will be, sometimes you will be accountable for this solution that you will find, or you will get you sometimes you would not have the full benefits of running a open source software. Okay, so make sure you have a license, proper license to this one. Since we are testing these kits out, we will definitely do not need um, uh, license in our place. Okay, so I just entered the name and a description and make it public, and I create a repository. So that's easy. And you guys can see it gives us a bunch of instruction how to get the source code in here. Right now we do not have a source code in here, so we can follow this instruction and get the source code in here. We will go one by one, and if there is an existing one, if there is an existing project, you can do the same. But this is like the initial point. Right now we do not have any source code. What we can do is we can create a source code from beginning, or if we have a source code initialized, we can use the second part. Okay, so it's gonna be really simple when we are trying to create something, but right now we just create an entry repository with nothing on it. Okay, so we will start committing our codes. We will send these codes in here, and we will start working on this. Okay, so up until this, guys, anything that you guys did not understand? I know it's just we create a repository. It's like creating an account in GitHub and creating some repository. That's it. But anything you guys did not understand, please speak up. Do not wait until you get stuck. If you do not get an idea on, okay, I don't get the point of this, just let me know in the chat, or you can raise your hand and speak up. Okay, either way works. It should be interactive, so I am not speaking all the time. You guys should be interacting with me as well. So any questions up until this by creating these things? I know it's the purpose of it is maybe a little bit blur at this moment. Okay, but when we are getting our hands dirty with Git and Git commands, you will see it's quite interesting tool to work with. Any questions? Pavani, any questions with this? Buddhini, any questions? Okay, you guys just talk. Okay, unmute and yourself talk. You don't have to write chat. Okay, that's I prefer to hear your voices rather than seeing your chat. Kalpani? Anything? All good?
Yes, sir.
All good, Kalpani?
Yes, sir.
Okay, okay. Is it maybe? Maybe? Maybe all good? Is it maybe? No, Maven, I'm not sure. Maven is a tool. Dulshan? You guys talk, just talk. I mean, it doesn't hurt to hear your voice. Dulshan?
Yes, sir.
Okay, all clear. Cool. We'll move on. Anyone having, by the way, you guys were able to create the GitHub account? Anyone having problems? Who were able to create the GitHub account while we are doing? Or anyone who have existing account that would also work? I was able to create GitHub account. Any issues came? Okay, I had an issue with creating a GitHub account. Raise your hand, please. Wonder whether let me pause the video for short. I think the glare is too much. Okay. Oh, the glare is coming from the other side. Okay. Up until this, any questions? All right. Everybody should be able to get the account in place. It's like dead simple. All right. Okay. Next thing that we will do, we will create software that is not going to do anything other than just showing you guys a few things. It's not going to be like the super software that we're going to use, we will just create a dead simple HTML page and we will just deploy it. Okay, that's our intention at this point. So we will start working on that. Okay, so what I will do is I will go to my terminal. Okay, you can do it um, in your file browser as well, but I like to go with in here CD projects. Let me see, where can I create a website? Okay, I have a directory called websites. Okay, currently it says uh, currently it has a website in place, but what I will do is I will create a new folder in here, and I will name this as the course code itself. Otherwise, there are gonna be a lot of projects in my my machine. I'll name the project as the same name as I have done my repository. Okay, so this is the project that I'll be working with, and oops, where was I? Okay, cd se. Okay, so this is going to be an empty directory. So by the way, I will be working with terminal a lot, but I will not teach you guys all the terminal commands that I am executing. So when you guys see a command, these commands might be limited to some operating systems. For example, the open command, it is something related to Mac OS, but the commands like ls, cd, git, those things are going to be most of the time completely universal for your machine as well. So even Windows command line will work, but I highly recommend you guys install WSL or Windows Terminal if you are using that. If you are in Linux or Mac, you are good. The terminal will just work fine. Okay. So let me clear the area, and um, right now we do not have anything with this location. I am in this directory, an empty directory. I do not have anything. I'll just go here and create a simple software, simple HTML page. Okay. Since this is not related to creating a website or anything like that, you don't need to uh, know anything about HTML or anything like that. But if you are really interested in, I have several lectures lined up in YouTube. You can follow those things as well. If you are really into web development, mobile development, I have all those lecture series uploaded to YouTube. You can check those things out. But in here, we will be not focusing on any of the web or mobile development. We'll be solely focusing on getting a piece of software into Git, and Git will deploy it somewhere else. Okay, that's our purpose. We're not going into development things. Okay, so I would like to go with a simple software. So I'm not going to code everything in the terminal. Most people will do, but I'm not that expert in terminal. So I would use Visual Studio Code. So if you have Visual Studio Code installed, you can say code dot. That means Visual Studio Code will start within the given location. In this scenario, this location, Visual Studio Code will open. Or if you do not have the terminal, all you have to do is open Visual Studio Code and and go to File and open folder. That's it. Open folder. You open that empty folder that you have created. Right now, my Visual Studio Code is laying empty. Okay. If I go to the File Explorer, I do not see anything in here. That means I have not created any file. So this is going to be my repository. This is going to be the software that I will be developing. So what I will do is I will create HTML file, a dead simple index HTML file. I'll call this as index.html. So everyone who knows HTML should have created an index.html file throughout your lifetime. And I have a doc type is something I put all the time, and it's gonna say HTML. And I have an HTML tag, and so those who want to see these changes as we go, I would recommend a Visual Studio extension called Live Server. Okay, I think you have it. Live Server, you can install it, and once you hit this go live button, and it will show you the code. While you are doing that, I will split my code editor and my in my browser, so I can see what I am doing. Okay, so I'll just put it in here, the simplest thing that I can do. And yeah, I don't want to make it like really ugly. I would use Bootstrap or something like that. You can use whatever you like. So getting started with Bootstrap, I'll just simply make these things really dead simple, and that's it. And I think I have Bootstrap installed. No, I think I need the viewport to be ready, and I need to have the CSS and JS files. So let me put this document. Is it showing? Yeah, it is. So basically, it's gonna say hello world in here. Okay, but I will make this the course name. Okay, I'll just put everything in here. SMG and 2023. So this is the dead simple application that we are building. Okay, we do not have much going on, but the purpose of this lecture is think this is as a really high-end grade application where all of you guys going to be contributing. So we will see how we can get contribution in, how we can manage the software, how people from different places contribute to your code, how people will get stuck if somebody is doing the same change, how we can create issues, so on and so forth. So this is like the foundation of what we are going to do. So I'm going to create a dead simple unordered list, and I would say in here and with an h2 participants. Okay, I will list all the participants in here. So I will have my name right on the top, Andika Gordon. Okay, so I have this that simple program. So what I need you guys to do is contribute your name in here. Okay, just the thing that we need is you guys to have in your name in here, and do a pull request. So I know you guys are following along, because as soon as you do a pull request, I know who is giving this pull request, and you guys are working on it. So based on your contribution, I know that you guys are following along with this course. Okay, I will teach you guys how to do everything right now. Just follow along. I have created a dead simple website which has my name on it. That's it. Oh, I can I will do a styling padding of 16 pixels, so it is not that ugly. Okay, so I have created this awesome website, and now it is ready to get collaboration from you guys. Okay, now what I need to do is I need to find a way to share this. As I mentioned earlier, sharing this, I can just put this index HTML in an email or send it to you guys. You guys can edit it and send it back, and that's going to make a whole mess. We have Git in our place. We will use Git in order to work with that. So let me start by looking at the commands. Okay, I no longer need to see this. I will just working it. The things that I need to do in order to get this piece of source code into this repository. Okay, first thing that you will see creating a new command line repository like echo and updating a README file. So it will contain a README file. So most of the time in the application to get things started, you will have this README MD file that is like a common custom. So we will create that one as well. By echoing this thing is the same thing like creating a file and putting this content into this README file. But manually, I will create this README MD file, new file, README MD, and I will say this is my README for this repository. Okay, so this is going to be like most of the time the README will contain all the Git commands that we are the instruction that we will be using in here. So what I will do is I will make a note of what are the codes that we are running in this README. So you guys will have okay, I have this Git repository and these are the commands that we use. So you guys have a history of what we have done so far. Okay, so I will make this. I will name this as the same one Git test Git Git testing repository. Okay, so why I have used a hash in here, the MD files, the markdowns, we call these markdowns. Markdowns have a different way of seeing things. So if you guys need to learn markdown in that scenario, but it is not not compulsory in this course. But markdown has a way of like it's like a markup language like what we do in HTML. Even though this is what we have marked up, the browser will understand it separately. Same goes to the markdown. If you want to look these things out, there is a preview in VS Code. Yes, you can see this preview button in VS Code. You can see how it looks like. It is gonna look like something like this. Okay, and by default, most of the Git providers, they will find a README file, readme.md file, and they will give a short introduction, or it will display that README MD. So anyone who is coming to your repository will have a basic idea of what it does and what's the README is all about. Okay, so this is like the preview version. I would so if I want to put some content in here, I will put it in here as well. So in order to create this step, we executed this one, that is done. And we will be initializing the Git repository. So we will use this git init command. Okay, so I will make a note down of it so you guys can see it as well. To give code lines, I can use this three what do you call it? I'm not sure the correct name for these things, backslashes or something like that. It's just right next to your keyboard one. It's right below the tilde sign. I'm not sure what's the name of this, but for any code or any command line instruction, we put those things in this format. Okay, so I will say instruction to initialize the Git repository, use git init command. So we have used this git init command to initialize. Okay, so you guys can see the markdown is having a different view than this. Okay, to initialize the Git repository, use git init command. Okay, now we know this README will show that. And what we're going to do is, this is an empty repository, we haven't initialized anything. So we have to initialize our Git. That means we are making preparations to initialize Git within the repository. This is currently an empty repository. It does not have anything. Right now, what we are trying to do is initialize Git within this repository. That means we are making preparation to work with this. Right now, this repository does not know anything about Git whatsoever, but we need to make sure we introduce Git commands, and everything will be executed afterward. So we will initialize it. That's simple. We will go to terminal and we will say git init. Okay, so you can see the message in here, initialized empty Git repository in this, and you will find the git / is created. So what it does, let's see VS Code. So if you go in VS Code, you would not find that directory that is like hidden. That's because Linux and Mac operating systems consider dot in a directory in front of dot to be a hidden file. Okay, this is not visible unless we see it. So what I will do is I will open this in here, and you can see it is not visible in here. If I'm not mistaken, Command H. Oops, not Command H. Let me see the command that I need to execute. Mac OS unhide files. What is the command? Shift command. Press shift command and period. Okay, I have to put in here shift command period. Okay, so that's unhide my hidden folders. This is something related to Mac and Linux. Okay, so you have to find the secret key that it will unhide the things. But for Windows users, you would have no issues, because dot and followed by a directory name is not considered hidden in Windows. For Linux and Mac, it does. Okay, now you guys can see there are, if I expand this, there are a bunch of files available in here: the config, description, head, hooks, info, object, ref, and all those things. Okay, so we are not going to go into these each and every file at this moment. Honestly, some files are not even like known to me as well, but we will learn as we go. Okay, right now the thing that you guys need to know, if Git initialization has done correctly, there will be a directory called .git. Okay, .git, that is the folder name itself. And you will be able to see these things in Windows, but if you are not in a Windows machine, you will have to unhide these things, and you will be able to see. So yeah, we have VS Code running around here, and you guys can see it in here. But if you look it in the file explorer, git init is here. That means we have initialized. The first step is complete. Okay. The next thing that we need to do is to add the files that we think need to be tracked. Okay, there are files in our machine or in our repository that we need to share, and there can be files we do not need to share with the other. For example, let's say we want a file, we want to create this piece of software, but there can be binaries where we have executables. For example, if you guys know source codes like Android and all those things, they have two ones. The first one is the source code, and then the second one is executable binary. If I put in simple terms, let's say we have the source code. In this scenario, the source code and the executable is same, but most of the softwares that we do distribute, the source code is one thing, and the distribution, the outcome of the source code, when it get compiled to something else, there is what we call the distribution, the binaries. So we do not want to when we are doing source code management, we do not include binaries in our source code. Okay, that will make a mess. Okay, every time anyone who is doing a binary, and it will be uploaded. So it gonna makes the application too hard to work with. Okay, so what we need to do, we need to make sure that we only put these put the source codes or the source code that we think that is necessary to go in the repository. Okay, so I can say, okay, index HTML is something that we need to share. README ND is something that we need to share. But say, for example, I have a file called passwords.txt. Okay, for just for demonstration purposes, I do not need this password txt to be shared among the others. Okay, it's going to be in my repository. It's going to be in my local machine, but it won't be in the uh, in the final source code repository. It's not going to be there. Okay, so we need to make sure these, what are the files that we're going to be adding. So we can say, I am interested in I'm sure that index.html should be added. I am sure that readme is added. But if I do not add the password txt, it will not go in the repository. Okay, so let me do that right now. So I can add the files as I wish. So I'll use the same command. For now, I will open a terminal in my VS Code, so I don't have to go back and forth in my terminal. I can move it here, can I? So VS Code has a built-in terminal as well, so you can use that. How do I make this come to the bottom? It's $1 million question. Go down, go down. See, it is not compiling with me. Do I have a view and appearance? It's not coming down. Let's work like this. So I have a terminal in here, so I can add the files that I am interested in. So I use the git command and the sub command called add. So git initialize will initialize an empty repository. Git add and followed by the file name will add the files that we are interested to see in our repository. So we will say git add readme md. Okay, that's one of the files that I need to see in my repository, and I can say git index HTML in my repository. Okay, so these two files I have added to my repository. Now it's still not in the repository. Okay, it's still not, but we have instructed in our local machine saying, okay, these two files will be sent out. They will be sent to our repository. So how do we know? So in a scenario like this, we can't say, okay, if I clear this thing out and I don't know what are the files that I've been added, what are the files have been changes. I do not have a current visible status of this Git repository. Okay, how do I know what have been changes? What are the things I have added? What are the things have not been added? So in order to get that, we have another command. We call that git status. Okay, so if I hit git status, now I will see instruction, or it will give me some things that is visible for me. So I have something called branch. We will talk about branches in a little bit. Now, currently, I'm in the main branch. Okay, that means we are in a branch called main. Okay, that's for now. We will go into branches here. So no commits yet. That means we haven't done any commits. We will do a commit later on. And changes to the commit. We have new file readme md. We have new file index.html. And these are untracked files. That means these files are no longer tracked. Even though you can see it in our local folder, these files are not visible. These files are not visible to the repository. That means these files are not tracking. We do not track anything that we do in here. So these files are not going to be end up in our repository. So git status will give what are the files we have newly added, what are the files we do not track. Okay, use the git status command a lot often, so you will get an understanding of what has been changes, what is the current status of our git repository. Okay, so we have the git repository and we have added 2 files, so we are done with these 2. Okay, so I'll update the readme. So you guys will do the readme updates as well. So remember these commands, and I will ask. I will know how you guys have worked with these things. We will soon go on to that. Right now, we have added 2 files. Okay, that is good. Then the next thing is the commit. Okay, the commit is we can consider a commit as a code change that we would like to see, and we have done a change and we want to save that state. Okay, so I have created a simple file, this index.html, and I have created this readme.md. This is going to be the first code change that I have done, and I am happy with it. Okay, so I will do a commit that will seal these files. Okay, that will seal this file. That means these change, the adding of this index.html, adding of this readme and its content, it's going to be a marking point, a snapshot of our code. Okay, we will see these commits and all, but right now, what remember a commit would do is it's going to seal the content, or it's going to take a snapshot of what we have done. These 2 files will be in a snapshot. It will be taken as a place that we like to put a marker on. Okay, so we will create our first commit. Okay, we just have to define the commit. We can say git commit. So each and every commit should followed by a message. That means we need to give us some insight what this commit has done, what this changes that we have done. So we have to pass a message. You can pass a message by saying simple -m, and within string, within quotation marks, what is the message that you want to provide. So git commit will do like git commit will do a snapshot of what the source code is right now with the added files. And remember, the unadded files, so untracked files, won't be affected by this. So I will create a commit based on these 2 file changes, and I'm happy with that. So I'm gonna do a commit. That means I'm gonna freeze this code. At least I'm gonna do a snapshot of this code, and I will provide a message for this. Okay, I will say it says first commit. I will go something more meaningful. A commit message should be meaningful, so anyone else can understand. By looking at the commit logs, we will see the commit logs. They should understand what this is about. Okay, so this commit message is very important. Okay, different organizations have different formats on doing commit messages. Commit message should be clearly visible, clearly readable for someone else. Okay, especially when we are doing reviews and all, we will see. But remember, at this point, that the commit message should be very organized. So in this scenario, I have added index .html and readme.md. Okay, this is my commit message. So it's clearly defined what this commit is all about. I have added the readme and index.html, and that's the code commit is all about. That's this snapshot is containing. So I have added that. So you can see that 2 files have changed, 23 insertions, create the index, create HTML, and so on. And if I do a git status right now, now you guys can see the changes that we have done. The changes that we have done to these 2 files is no longer visible because the commit has now taken into our place. Only these untracked files will be there. Okay, now we can clearly say that our commit is successful. These two changes have been committed. That means these two changes have taken a snapshot, and we are taking the rest all on the way. Okay, and the next thing that we would do is create a branch. Okay, the branching system. What we need to do. So the branching system that we will that is needed. It's like separate code section of your code management of your application. Okay, uh, for some time we had branching system named master and all, but due to different world naming convention, we do not use the term master, but we use the term main. But you will find master branch in most of the old codes, but new codes we try to go with main, but it does not limit you to use master. Okay, it can, it has effect on the master slave kind of thing that is not, you know, accepted in the current society that we live in. So what we do is we have the term main right now. Okay, so the main branch is the source code. We take this as the most stable branch in our repository. Okay, so we can branch out anytime, like a tree. We can branch out anytime. So we have the master branch. Anytime we want to add some, we want to do some development, we branch out from the master or whatever the branch, and we do the development on there on this newly created branch. Okay, right now we have only one branch. Okay, it's going to be called main. Okay, so we will be creating a bunch of branches out of this main branch. But right now, remember, have a mental map on a branching system, which is something that you can uh, branch of something, and you can work on these things, and you can have many branches as you like. As far as I know, there is no limitation. There might be. I'm not perfectly sure. We do not like get into that level. We do not like thousands of branches. Right now, when we are working with the application, we will have one single branch, but we will branch out from here and do development and do those things. Right now, we will create a main branch, which will contain all the stable code. Okay, so we will create a main branch and we will put it like this. So if you guys can remember, in here it says in the main branch, on main branch, since we have created the main branch as well, I don't think we have done so many changes. Since we were already on main branch, this command will just do nothing at this point. But if you were in a different branch other than main, it will create a main branch, and it will be the main the stable branch of our repository, the main branch. That's why this -m is standing above. So if you need anything regarding these commands, what does m stand for? If you don't know, you can always ask Git about it. Git branch, okay, and it will say the main branch. Git branch -h will give you all the help that you need. So you guys can see that it gives us a lot of options. So one of the options is there -m, capital M. You can see move rename branch even if the target exists. Okay, that means we are moving the branch from whatever the branch that we are existing to the current branch main. Okay, so we can get the helps out of here by typing -h, and that would work as well. Okay, right now we are in the main branch, so we did not move anything because we are originally was in the main branch. Now the next thing is the remote origin. That means we are going to bind our remote repository. That means this one, the GitHub one, with our local repository. Okay, so this command will attach the code or remote repository into this repository URL. So if I look at this, you guys can see that this URL, the git@github.com / this is our remote repository. So this is like a unique URL for our Git repository. You can see it in here. It is something similar to the URL that we are having on the top. That means the source code that we see in here will be remotely added. Okay, we can have several remotes. Okay, we can have several remotes. That means we can have one remote in GitHub. We can have another remote in Bitbucket. Likewise, we can have multiple remotes. Okay, that means multiple places where we can host this. Okay, so I will add a remote. That means we will push this code. We will link this one with the name origin. Okay, we will add a remote location. The name of that would be origin, and this is the place that we're going to be looking at. Okay, we can have another repository. We can have the same repository in another remote. That means, let's say, for example, we need this in Bitbucket. We can git remote add, and we have to name it someone else. Like, we can't have the same remote name for two things. So we don't have a way to differentiate. We might need to change that in here. We might change the remote name. Right now we name this as origin. The naming is pretty much standard at this point. Okay, these namings are like what we call standard names, like main, origin. These are like standards names. You can change it, but I would really stick with the default ones, because a lot of users are used to these things. Okay, so I will add a remote origin, which is here. So currently the Git that we have done is in local one. We call this local repository. Now we are syncing that into the this repository. So this repository will be used to link from the local repository that we have with this one. So I just copy this and paste it in my terminal. Now the local repository will have a connection with the repository that we are having in the GitHub. Okay, so that is done. You won't see anything else. Now the big thing that we need to make sure, whatever the changes that we do in local repository, that means in our local directory, to be pushed, to be sent out to the origin repository. So we have to use this command, git push and -u. So you can, if you don't know what -u is, you can say git push minus -h. That will print out all the help. So in here you say upstream, u minus is set upstream for git pull request. That means we say where to upload. Okay, where to upload. So we say, using git push command, upload this to origin. Origin is the remote repository that we have said. Okay, this is the place that we're going to say. As I mentioned earlier, there can be multiple repositories, so you can change this name. And what is the branch that you want to push? Okay, the main branch is the one that I am interested in pushing it. So you can push it to a separate branch, but to keep things insane, we use the same branching name in our local to the remote repository. Okay, so we will be pushing this code. Setting the upstream to origin. So we will put everything in the remote origin called remote place called origin, and to the main branch. Okay, so that's simple. We will push this code. There. Okay, at this point you will be asked to do some things, especially if you are using if you are not using username and password, because anyone can come and push these things. At this point you will be asked to give your username and password, but as of this recording, the username and password based authentication is not supported by GitHub. So you need to provide an SSH key. Okay, I'll leave that up to you guys, but if you guys are really stuck, I will help you with that. I have already set up a SSH key within my machine, so I do not get to prompt any username or password. They know who I am, and they will just put this in GitHub. But if you find it hard to do, you just let's talk it in another session or within this after you try and you guys fail, we can have it, or you can figure it out yourself. It's that simple. You will find a lot of tutorials or a lot of web resources in GitHub how to set up that. Even when you are trying to do it in the command line, they will say the key is not set up, you have to set up this, and it will give you a website to work with. Okay, now I can see that a new branch is created, main, and the main is tracked with the origin main, and the code is pushed. Now my local changes are in the website in here. You can't see it at once, but if you hit refresh, now you see the code, the changes that we have done, including the index.html, the README file, and by default, as I said, the README file is shown in here, and you guys can see it in here to work with. And now we are in the main branch. We do not have any branch since we have only created one branch. And in here, you will see all the things that I have committed so far. And you guys can see this as well. If you go to this website right now, GitHub URL, even though you are not registered, I think you should be able to get. Let me get an incognito view and see whether I can. Is it there? There you go. Even in incognito mode, that I have not registered, but since this is an open one, you guys can see this branch. Okay. Please take a look at. I have put the link in the chat. See whether you guys have access. If you have access, raise your hand, please. What is going on? Raise your hand if you have the access to this website, with at least this repository, I would say. Okay, Sahan has. What about others? Do you guys have access to this? Yes. That means now you guys can see this. Yes. All the others, I suppose everyone should be able to get into this repository. So this repository will be used throughout our course. So when I am talking about our repository, the repository is this one. This is what I'm talking about. Okay. So make sure when we do assignments and we do all the activities, you use this repository in order to work with them. We will see different ways that you can contribute and all those things, and all the cool stuff that you can do. Right now, what we have done is we created a dead simple repository and pushed our code to it. So any questions up until this? We talked about Git initialization, Git adding, Git commit, Git branching, and Git push. These are like most common things that you will ever use, but we used in one go. Okay. Yeah. Anything that you guys need any answers with? Raise your hand. I need the clarification on this, or just speak out. I can answer. Anyone have any question? Raise your hand or just ask in the chat, or raise the question directly via voice. Shabib, you have any question?
No, sir.
Okay.
I forgot to unraise my hand.
No issues. Happens to us. How about others? Sasindu, you have any questions with what we have done so far? Buddhini, any questions? if this is your first time, I understand that's a little bit overwhelming. The terminal is something new for you guys if you haven't worked with. Kalpani. Dumindu, any questions? Kalpini, you got it, right? Everyone got it. Jonathan, you got it? Everything's up to this point is cool. You can understand. Okay. So next thing, I would you guys to know, like, I think today since you have a lot in plate, I think taking this Git repository and working with this won't be feasible at this point. But let me show you guys how you guys can get this source code within your local machine. Okay, so I am currently the person who is pushing this code. So you should be able to get that, right? You should be able to get these things and work with. Okay, so the thing is that since I already have this in my machine, I can't take this in the same directory. That is not possible. So what I will do is I will create a separate directory and try to get this into my machine. Okay, so this is how you push this code. This is how you put this everything in here. And for you guys, you need to get this code. Okay, you need to get this code. So we use a different command. So I am in this directory. I will cd out, and I will create a temporary directory mkdir tmp. Okay, I will go to tmp folder. So just to show you guys how you can get this code, let me clear this out. So I am in this directory, user website tmp. This is like a temporary directory. I have opt out from the original source code branch. So I am in this directory. I need to get the code. So if you guys are following along, this is how you're gonna get it done. So what you need is this Git repository URL. Okay, so you have this Git repository. I need to like get a code, get it into my local machine. So you can do in here. You can see this code section in here, and you can check that you can get this code in different ways using HTTPS, using SSH, or using GitHub CLI. So I would not use GitHub CLI because then we will be tied to GitHub. Okay, so we can clone this repository either using HTTPS or SSH. Right now, even HTTPS is not recommended. I would go with the solution SSH. As I mentioned earlier, you need to add your SSH key into your in your local machine and the public key in the GitHub, so you know a connection is made. Okay, without this SSH code, you can of course try with HTTPS, but as industrial standard right now, do not use HTTPS, use SSH. Okay, or you can just download this zip file, but it is not going to help you. If you are like just looking at this source code, you can download it. But if you want to contribute it, I would not recommend downloading this as a zip file. So what you need is this GitHub URL. Okay, this is the SSH key that we're going to use. For HTTPS, it's going to be different. For SSH, it's going to be a different one as well. But I will use this SSH one. I will just copy this and I will go to the repository, the temporary location that I have created. So I need to get that code. So simply that I need to do is use the command git checkout. So is it not checkout? Git clone, sorry. I need to use the command git clone and followed by the git repository. Now if I hit enter, If it is a public repository, you don't need any authentication or anything, and you just clone it. Now, if I look at this command, you can see that within the temporary directory, I have the folder called, let's see, that folder that's going to be the project name. So if I cd into that, and if I ls, you can see that the readme and index files are there. But if you look at my original source code, the original files, I have something other than that. Yes, if I look at in here, you can see that I have index.html, readme, and the password.txt. Since I have not added the password.txt in my original repository, you won't see it in the clone as well. So within the clone, you only see the files that I have been put it out there, not the files that I did not put. Okay, the files that you will see same on the repository itself. In the repository, I have two files, so I have cloned this into my local machine, and you will see that one only. Okay. All right, that's how you get a copy. But yeah. So we got a copy from you. You guys now need to do contribution to this one. Okay. So I will assume that you guys are working with this repository, and we will see how we can use a fork. Okay, you can fork this one. In here, you can see these forks. Okay, when you guys have a fork, you can create a new fork and work with that. But fork is something for later on. We'll work in forks, and you guys can clone. You can create a clone of this one, and you can create a pull request to that one. But later on, for now, we just know how we can clone it, and we can see it in your local machine. Okay. So we have done some other things as well in here. We have taken to our machine the code that we have pushed, and we took it back into a different directory. You can't have it in the same directory because it will not work. And we took that into a different directory, and I am not interested in. Let me just keep it for a while if something comes up. Right now, we have the original one, which is this directory, and I have a temporary one, just a clone out of the same thing in a different directory. Okay. So we have shown how we can push it. We have shown how we can take it. Any questions up until this, guys? Anything? This after this, it's gonna get a little bit easy. So this is the setup part that we need to work on, and the other things we have to branch out and everything I will show you guys right now. Any questions up until this? Okay, I hope everybody have no problems. Okay, if you have, directly just ping me out or just let me know, because as I was saying, it's gonna get a little bit easier from now on. It depends on what you are looking at. Okay, probably it will be easy for you guys. Now we have set up a Git, we have cloned it. Now for the rest. So as I mentioned earlier, when we are working with software like this, we need to have a main stable branch. Stable branch will keep things easy. When we are going to CI/CD pipeline, we will see different branches and release branches and also all those things. But most of the time, when we are developing an application, we will have like a bunch of project management tools in order to add things to this. Okay, so what we can do is we can create issues, or we can have we will have some project management tools like Jira or something like that, where we will create stories, and based on that story we will create features, and we will create all those things. Right now we do not have any Jira software or something like that. For that reason, what we will do is we will utilize something similar, what we call an issues. Okay, so every program comes with issue. Okay, otherwise we don't need any of these. If it is working out of the web, we don't need anything. But any program would come with issues. So we need to create issues, and we need to improve our source code. Okay, so you guys can go here, go into this repository. This is a public repository. You guys can go right now and create issues. Okay, so the issue that I am going to create right now, issues that I like to see you guys creating now is missing names. Okay, so if you guys can remember, do I have the live server with me? I'm not sure. Okay, I should go live. Okay, so one of the issues that I see in this project, this imaginary project, that under participants, your guys names is not here. Okay, but my problem is let's say I need to add my middle name in here. Okay, I need to add my full name. So this is an issue. Okay, this is not a valid issue, but in a real programming scenario, you will have an issue that this button is not working, this text is not working, this color is not right, this kind of thing. Okay, so my issue, let's say my name is not correct, the color of this UI is not correct, something like that. There's going to be an issue. Okay, so we are creating a fake issue, but to demonstrate the usage. So I would say my issue is my first name should be in green and last name should be in black. Okay, that's the issue that I'm going to fix. Okay, our product is going stable in this branch, but right now there is an issue. The user have found that name should be in, first name should be in green, the second name should be in black. So that's the issue. So I need to create an issue to address this. I need to create an issue to fix this. Okay, so we'll go into issues and create a new issue in here. And what is the title? The title is it's a feature that we need, or it's going to be a bug that we will write to create. The thing is that I will create this as a feature. Okay, this is going to be a feature in our application. So the first one that we will see in our application, the first name that we use in the list should be in green. The second one should be in black. So it's going to be a feature. That means a new value added value added thing. So I will create a feature out of this. Okay, so this is a naming convention that we use. If you're trying to add a new functionality, we call it as a feature. But if it is a bug, say for instance, that is something wrong with the code, it's existing functionality, it is it's something wrong, we call it as a bug fix. Since this is a feature that we need, we call this as a feature. Normally we put this in brackets and put it as a feature. So anyone who is looking at the issue get an idea. Okay, this is a feature request, this is a bug request. Or sometimes we use things like labels. Okay, so you can see there's a bug, documentation issue, enhancement, invalid, correction, won't fix. Like there are labels that we can put on, so we can easily identify these things are a bug or an enhancement or something like that. New feature or new feature enhancement, we have enhancement. So for now, if you do not use labels, use the feature like this. But if you like, I like to use this enhancement labels, so it's make easy. And I would say make the first name green in the list. Okay, so I would say make the first name list in green and it's enhancement, and I will submit a new issue. Okay, this is the mind-blowing issue that we are having in our application. So we have an open issue right now. Okay, so what we can do about it. Okay, so you guys go to this repository and create an issue which stating your name is missing. Okay, your name is missing. Since this is an open one, we can do whatever we want, but create an issue saying let's say, for example, Varuna is missing in the participant list. Okay, that's the issue, and that's the issue that you're going to be working on. Okay, that's going to be a bug. Okay, because it's a missing thing. That's not a feature that we are adding. It's something missing, or we can label it as a documentation or feature issue. So something I will probably go. It's a bug because it's missing there. So you have to create an issue right now. Go to GitHub, go to this website, go to the issue section, create, since your name is not here, you have to create an issue. So do it right now as we are talking. Create an issue and we will work on that. So now it's the time you go here and create an issue. Please do now. And while you guys are doing it, I'm going to pause it and I will fill up my water bottle. I need a little bit break. Okay, I'll pause this, and once I'm back, I need to see all the issues in here. Okay, I'll pause the sharing. Okay. So let's see how many of you got. Oh, really? No one? Anybody having trouble creating issues? I was hoping everybody's now created an issue. No one? Any problems? Okay, my name is missing. README file have a description. Make the first name, green name. So you guys, I think, misread what I'm saying. So you have to create issue that your name is missing. README file does not have a description. Okay, that's fine. But I'm talking about your name is missing. Or if you take Shabib issue, it should say Shabib. Shabib. Okay, you guys put it as a description. Okay, but make the title as well. I think you can edit yourself. Shabib is missing in the participant list. That's the issue name should be, so we can manage it. Okay, rather than saying issue 2. Also go to those Sahan and R Dilshan. You guys should have something like rather than saying my name is missing, whose name is missing. So you have to be very careful in creating issues. Your name is missing on the participant list. Okay, something like that. Rename the issues. I think you can go to edit, and there's an edit button on here, and you can rename this. Do it yourself, so it's easy. Okay, what about others? Others, you have to create the issues, and you guys, you know, these things will be considered as your assignments as well. So make sure, unless you have a PR or fix for those things, the assignment will be failed, since these things are considered assignments as well. Okay, I might take anywhere from, okay, if I find I need to take a PR as assignment, I will do that instantly, and you guys have to follow it. So anytime if I find something missing, I consider a failed assignment. Okay, so you guys have to follow this. So currently, I'll give you guys sometimes you might have some issues with the GitHub accounts, but we'll practice on that. For now, I will work on the my issue. Okay, I'll show you guys how you can resolve this issue, and you guys should do the same thing. And let's keep it in the simplest form. So I will be working on this make your first name green in the list. This is the issue that I am facing. So how I am gonna make this issue? to be gone, or how I make this issue to create something like something to make this in a better way. So I have like 5 issues right now. We need to create we need to create we need to find a way to resolve this issue in terms of using Git. Okay. All right. So how we gonna do that? First, we will create a branch out of this. Okay, we will create a branch out of this. So we know where the issue is. Issue is in the main branch. Okay, we have a branch called main, and in here there is an issue that this one is not working. So we will create a branch out of this, and we will develop on it. So how we can do that? It's really simple. In your issue section, you will see create a branch for this one, or if this is not visible for you guys, you can manually create a branch. Let's create a branch out of this UI, but I'll show you how you can do it in your local machine. So I will create a branch in here, and you guys can see branch name is given for us. Okay, 1 is the issue number. Make the first name green in the list, that is the branch name. And you can see what is the place that we're going to be working with. The issue is going to be into this repository. And what's next? I can say check out locally or GitHub in create this branch. But what I can do is I will create this branch from here from now, and I will create a branch later on using Git. Okay. So branch name, this is going to be the branch name. That it's always better to create branch names out of a UI, something like this, because this branching name can get really messy. Right now, I will create a branch out of this name, and I will say check out locally. That is fine. And I will say create branch. Okay. Now you guys get few instruction. The first one is git fetch and git checkout. Okay. So I will describe these things as well. So git fetch, the command git fetch, what it does is now our remote origin has changed. Okay, our remote origin has changed. We have created the new branch in our remote repository. Okay, we have created branch in our remote repository in our GitHub. But the local repository, the one we are having in our machine, does not know that there is been changed. There have been any changes happening. We don't know anything that's happened in the remote in our local machine. To sync up these two, to know what are the changes that we are having in our local and the remote branch, we use this command called fetch. Okay, git fetch origin. That means in our local machine, we will fetch the new things from the origin or the remote branch that we have, remote repository we have. So simple. We'll go to our repository, which is the original one, by the way. So if I say git status, and if I status, and I can see I am on main branch. I have 2 files that is not there, that is not tracking. And if I clear, and if I say git branch, okay. So right now in our remote repository, I have created a branch, but in our local machine, I haven't created a branch. It does not know anything about. So I can list out all the branches in my machine by calling git branch command. Right now, it has only the main branch. It does not know the remote things. So I need to sync up with the branch. I need to get all the things from the remote. So I would use git fetch command. You can just say fetch. If you want specific origin, you can say the origin of your repository. I will just say, since this is a single origin, I will say simply git fetch. So what it now is going to do, it's going to go to the remote origin branch, and it will take those branches in here. So you can see that New branch has been created. Make your first name in green. This is the branch name, and it is available in the origin as this. Okay, so that's in the remote repository. The branch name is okay. So now if I hit git branch, branch. So git branch still it does not show. It's just fetching the new branches. It did not work with those things. So I need to do the next thing is to check that out. So a repository, first of all, we will clone it. Okay, that means all the repository will take into from the remote repository local machine. But when we want to when we want to see or when we want to work with a branch, we use the command checkout. Okay, to check out to another branch, we use this git checkout command. That means we have the repository in place, but we are not in the correct branch. Now we have two branches in our code. One is the main, the other one is the issue1 branch. Okay, so if you go to the code section, and if you go to if you select drop down on this main section, you will see now we have two branches. One is called the main branch, the other one is called the issue, whatever the issue branch that we have created. Okay, so from main branch I need to go to this branch. Okay, when we are doing an issue or something like that, we do not work on the main branch. We create the branch out of the main and we check out that and we do our changes. Okay, because we need to make sure the main branch stay stable as possible, and we want to check out the branch from we want to check out the branch that we have created for this issue. Okay, so we fetch these things and we are now checking out. Okay, now our branch is, if I say git branch, I have a main branch and I am currently in the issue first, this branch. Okay, this is the branch I am currently in. As you can see, it is highlighted in green and there's a star in here that annotates that, okay, this is the current branch that I am in. Okay, and remember how we created that branch? We created that branch using the GitHub, using GitHub. Okay, that is one way of doing that. I will show the next way of creating a branch. Okay, then next thing that we can do, we have created a branch in remote repository. The other way, we can create a branch in our local repository. That is also possible. Normally, when we creating a branch, we branch out from the main branch or development branch, whatever the stable branch that we have, then we create a branch. So currently I am in, if I say git status, I am in the issue branch. Okay, I am on the branch, this one, but I need to create a separate branch. I will show you how to do it. So I will check out git checkout main. So I'll change my branch from the issue branch to the main branch. So if I git status again, I am in my main branch. Okay, so that's how you change your branches using the command checkout and the branch name. Okay, I can easily I can easily switch between branches using this checkout command. So pretty simple. Now I am in the main branch. Now I need to create a branch. Okay, in GitHub CLI it was like one click and there you go. But if I want to create something from local, I need to create a branch. I am going to use the same command to create a new branch in local. Git checkout with -b. -b will create a new branch in my local machine. Okay, I will create a new branch by not simply saying if it is not existing, I will create a new branch using -b command, and I can say the name whatever I like for the branch. So I am currently in the main branch. I am branching out to a new one called issue2 out of the main branch. Okay, now if I hit enter, switch to a new branch called issue2. And if I say git branch, now I have 3 different branches. One is called issue2, one is called main, and one is for issue1. Okay, so I can create branch locally, but remember this one is local because I created in my local repository. It is not visible in GitHub. If I refresh in here, I do not see is so I do not see this unless I push this branch to the GitHub. Okay, so I'm not going to push this one. I'm just I just want to show you guys how to create a branch locally. That's it. I will delete this branch. In order to delete this branch, I have to get out of this branch because I am currently in this issue2. I can't delete while I'm in there. So I will check out for main. Git check out main. Okay, and right now I am in the main branch. I can see that by trying git status even. I am on my main branch. Okay, now I need to remove the branch locally. So I would use git branch rm, and the branch name is issue2. Okay, so if I say git branch now, sorry, I did the wrong command. Sorry, give me a second. Git remove branch. Git branch delete. Sorry, it's not rm. So many things going on. Git branch delete and the branch name. So I have accidentally created a branch called rm. I will delete that first. Deleted branch. Now, if I go and git branch in here, branch should be n branch. Okay, now I have 2 branches. Say for instance, I need to delete this branch was as well. Simple, git branch dash delete branch name. So I can delete a branch as well. So if I look at the branches again, I only have my origin matching branches list in here. I have a main branch. I have a branch for this. Now I will check that out. That means I'm going to switch the branch. So I will say git check out this one. Okay, now my current branch is the issue branch that I need to work. So at this moment, my current branch is what we call the first name. Sorry, this name is my current branch, and it is also a checkout of main. That means it is identical for the main as well as the current state. Since I have not done anything in this branch, the current branch and the main branch is the same. Now I'm going to do the changes within the branch that I have created right now. Okay, I will go to VS Code right now, and I'll do the change, the issue stated. So the issue stated that I need to go in here and make the first name green. So that's what I'm going to do. So I will go to index.html, and I will I need to create this one in green somehow. So I will just put it in a span, and I will just, this is like the actual coding if you are doing. I'll do these styles in here, and I'm just fixing it. And I would say li and li with a span. Li with a span with the color of say green. Okay, will it work? Yes, you guys can. I'm not sure whether it is visible. I have made that change. So if you are contributing, your first name should be in a span and the last name should be like this. And if you're doing like that, the name will be highlighted in green. I can say, I will also make the li a little bit larger, font size, let's say like 20 pixels. It's not even visible. Let's say 25. And for fun, I will make the font weight around like bold. Okay, just for fun. So this is one of the requirement. Let's say it should be bold and it should be green, and that is something out of the issue, but let's keep it that like that. And you can see that it is now in green and it is changed. So I have done a change in my issue branch, not in the main branch. I have checked out, I have branched out from my main to a new branch, and I have done changes in my current branch. Okay. Now, if I go and execute the git status command, let me clear this out, git status. Now you can see I have done some modification into the index.html. Okay. Earlier it was added for the first commit. Right now, I have done some modification to this. Okay, since the file is already added, what I have done is I have created a single modification to. Okay, that's it. I have done, and I need to say, okay, I have changed this. Now I have to push these things to my remote branch. So I need to send this modification to my repository, to my remote origin. So how are we going to do that? It's going to be the same thing that we did. Since I have modified this, I am going to add this modification and I will do a commit. That's the process. So I'll say git add index.html. This is the file that I have changes. Now, if I say git status, you can see that it is in green rather than red. Red means we haven't not committed. That means it's still local. And I have added this in here, so it is it commit add. Now it is made green, so it's an indication that we are doing the modification in here to ready to push. And the next thing is we have to have a git commit. Okay, we need to freeze these changes, and we have to take us. We will give a message. I can say added. The message should be added green to li items. Okay, this is the commit message. So if I git status again, now I am only seeing the untracked files. The modification is pushed. Now the commit is done. I have added the file what we have modified. You can have more than one modification file. You have to add what is necessary. You have to make the commit, and you have to then what you have to do is you have to push this change. Okay, you just simply say git push. What will happen is the commit, the changes will be pushed onto the branch that we have created. Okay, since this branch is available, it will be now reflected on the main branch. So if I go to the website GitHub again, and if I go to the if I go in here, you can see that the branch is here. You can click on that branch and you can go it from there. And if I click on that, what will happen? Now I am in this branch rather than in the main branch. And I am in another branch. Okay. Now, if I go to index.html, now you guys can see within this branch, I have the changes that I have done. I have this change that I have done in this branch. Okay. Remember the branch that we are seeing. And if I change to my main branch in the same file, you won't see that change. Okay, the main branch does not have that change, but my feature branch or my issue branch have this change. You can clearly see that the change is already there. Okay, so you guys can even do a comparison between these things. Right now, let's just stick to the things. The next thing that we need to do is, okay, we have done a change. Okay, we have this change in our hand. Now what we need to do is to say someone, hey, I have this branch, I have a solution for my issue. Now you take that into the main branch. That means you consume this branch, you take this branch, and you apply these changes, apply my fixes to the main branch. Okay, we have two branches, one with the error, the main branch with the error or missing feature, one with the solution, or one with the fix for that issue. And now what we need to do is we need to get that fix into the main branch, so all the others will have the solution in the future. Okay, so what we have to do is we need to get those the second branch, the issue branch, merge into the first branch. Okay, how are we going to do that? And there are certain things that we need to do, like whether this solution is okay, whether this solution is acceptable, whether there should be any changes in this branch, because we can't say, okay, anybody who is doing the changes is the perfect solution. Okay, their coding issues might be there. There can be wrong syntax. There can be issues within the code which we can't accept. So in such a case, there should be what we call a review process. We should have a review process, whether this change is acceptable or not, whether there are any changes or something like that. So in order to do the review process, what we do is we create something called a pull request. Okay, this is what we do. We create a pull request to check whether these codes are in place. And if these codes are in place, what we'll do is we will accept that pull request. Okay, so we'll see how we can create a pull request first. So pull request with basically we'll take these things into one, and we can discuss among the changes. So we can create a pull request simply. If I go to the source code, and it will say create and compare a pull request, but I am gonna go with the pull request section right around here, and I can create a new pull request. Okay, the person who have done the change should create a pull request in order to get it verified and merged. Okay, I'll create a new pull request, and it is asking from which branch to which branch that you are creating a pull request. So I am creating the changes. My changes are in this first branch, and I want those changes to be merged or to be applied into the main branch. You can see the arrow from here to here. I need to have those changes. Right around that, what we will see is the changes that we are getting. So we have only edited the index.html file. So we are getting a review what sort of things we have changed. Okay, in the main branch, you won't see this style tag, but in the feature branch, you will see this one. Okay, in the main branch, you don't have this span tag in here. So, but in the feature branch you have. So you can clearly see what has been changed. Okay, clearly you can see that it is okay. These are the changes that we needed, and these are in here. Okay, so you can say, okay, this is the accepted solution. Most probably the PR is reviewed by someone who is senior or who is responsible for this. Since I am the person who created the issue and I am the one who is committing this issue, I should not technically have any problems, but most of the time that is not how it works. Your code is reviewed by someone else. Your PR is going to be reviewed someone else. That person should approve that, and it should get merged. Okay, so right now I am seeing these changes, but I haven't created the PR yet. Okay, I will create the PR right now, and you can see if you guys go to the pull request, now the pull request should be created. I'm not sure. Oh, no, it's not created. I don't know why that's created. Once again, create a pull request. Okay, I need to click this create pull request again. Okay, so now I have created a pull request. That means the changes that I need to go. I have an issue. This is the issue, and I have a fix for that in terms of a pull request. Okay, Okay, I can see the pull request, and in here I can see the commits. Okay, I can have multiple commits for a solution. Right now we are having one. Keep it simple. And I can see the file changes that I have done in here. Okay, I have several changes in here. Right now, I assume these are okay. I assume that okay, but I will get back to you guys and how to do a review in this scenario since the time not permitting. I'll just say, okay, this is perfect code. This is the PR is right on spot. There is no changes that need to be happen. And I am happy with those changes. And I can say, okay, now I will say the changes are okay, everything is fine. I can say the merge pull request. Merge in the sense now if I hit accept on this scenario, what will happen is all the changes that has happened in this branch will be committed to the master branch. Okay, so the main branch. So I have created the merge. I have created the pull request from this to main. Once I am merging these pull requests, that means I am accepting all the changes that I have done in here into the main branch. So I will say merge pull request, and you have to confirm it. Now what will happen? The pull request has been completed. Now all the changes that I have done in here should be in the main branch as well. So if I am in the main branch, I can go to index. I can index, and you guys can see the changes that I have done is in the main branch. You have to create a pull request, and I have to accept it. Then it will be that will be available. Okay. Now, once it is done, I can go to the merge branch and I can delete this branch. But for now, I will keep it. So for your reference, but once it is done, I can delete it from here as well. So we don't have much branches available. All the changes now we need is merge into our main repository. Now main repository is stable. Okay, that's how you do that's how you do a pull request and accept the pull request. Now if I go here, if I go in here and I'll clear, I will say git checkout main. Okay, now I'm in the main branch. But if I go here, the main branch, still I do not see the changes that I have done in my code repository. In here, if I go to the main files, like I have gone in here, within the main branch, I see these changes, but in my local branch, I don't see those changes. That's because we have changed something in the main branch, but still our local branch is not up to date. It does not know these things have been changed. So what we need to do within the branch, I need to get the update from the main branch. In order to do that, we say simply git pull command. Okay. So within the branch, if you execute git pull, it will pull all the changes from that branch, from the origin, from the remote branch into our local branch. So if I hit git pull, now all the changes that is in the main branch will be in my local machine. And you can say the index file has been changes. And if I go right now, you can see in my main branch, I have these changes. Okay. So when you guys are working with the code changes, make sure you are checking out the branch and take a pull. Okay. If somebody has changed, some code has been updated, make sure you take them first. Otherwise, it's going to create a mess. We will create a mess and we will try to get it done. Okay. For now, for today, we will just create a pull request. We updated it, we take it to the local branch, and we are done. Okay. So lot in place, lot of things have moved. So we have created issue. We created a branch out of it. We create a pull request out of it, and we merged. Okay, this is going to be the flow of any Git project that you will see out there. Right now, we did the most easiest way, and I would be happy if everything goes as this. Okay, this is not gonna go well. Remember me when I'm working and I'm happy with the codes and everything. This is the best case scenario that can happen in a software development. And you guys won't believe what is the worst case. Okay, several people committing, several people are changing the same file, several people are changing the same line. That's going to be a mess. Okay, that's happened. That is normal. That is something you should accept. So we will look into those things, how we gonna fix this, how we gonna do this, those things. But by the way, I need your issues. Please rename these issues as I instructed. Yeah, my name is missing, something like this. Everybody should follow some similar pattern on this. And I am expecting a PR from you guys when we meet next time. Okay, we need to create issue. You guys need to create a pull request. Let's each and everyone should have a PR ready by next lecture. You have to create the issue and you have to create the pull request as well. So you can practice everything that we talked about. Okay, we will see how many of you get the things correct. Okay. Okay. Anything before we wind up for today? By the way, this will be shared with you guys. The next thing that right around the lecture is done, I will share this link with you guys. Any questions up until this? Okay. Hope everything went well. I'll stop sharing and we'll stop recording. Or did I not record this thing? Okay.